We've got some big news out of Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni has been promoted to the chief creative officer of the company. Before we get to that, I would like to ask if you could please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos here at the Trent Report. But let's get into this here over at Vanity Fair. They are reporting Star Wars undertakes universe-shaking changes after Ahsoka by Anthony Breznican. They say here Dave Filoni has a new mission in the Star Wars universe after guiding Rosario Dawson's force-wielding hero to distant celestial realms in the first season of Ahsoka. The writer, producer, director who started out working alongside George Lucas on the animated Clone Wars show nearly 2 decades ago has ascended to a new position at Lucasfilm, one that will give him input into all the galactic storytelling going forward. Filoni informed Vanity Fair that he is what is called the chief creative officer of Lucasfilm. And we do have confirmation of that over on the Lucasfilm website. It says here his titles are Executive Vice President and Chief Creative Officer. So there you have it. It is official, not only from Filoni's own words to Vanity Fair, but also on the Lucasfilm website. But going back to this Vanity Fair article, he also kind of explained what his new duties will be. Instead, he will have a much expansive capacity than his previous advisory duties. He said, in the past, in a lot of projects I would be brought into, I would see it after it had already been developed a good ways. That is going to change. He will now be working more directly with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy and alongside Carrie Beck, a veteran producer turned head of development, to originate and shepherd the next generation of Star Wars shows and movies. After spending many years involved in the creation of Star Wars animation, including the Rebels series, he became increasingly involved in live action as a producer with Jon Favreau on The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Filoni said in this new role, it's opened up to basically everything that's going on. When we're planning the future of what we're doing now, I'm involved at the inception phase. So this comes after, obviously, the Ahsoka series. But before we get into that, we do have some more information about what his role is. He said this, I'm not telling people what to do, but I do feel I'm trying to help them tell the best story that they want to tell. I need to be a help across the galaxy here, like a part of a Jedi Council almost. Uh, Bresnikan goes on to say he describes his responsibilities as understanding the intent of the filmmakers and being a resource to them based on his mentorship under Lucas himself and his years spent steering the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Ahsoka. He went on and said, literally hours now of Star Wars storytelling I have done. He said before pausing to rethink his syntax. So, see, I even phrased that like Yoda. Oh my gosh, that's cringe. Um, we have this other quote here. He says, to truly help filmmakers, it was really important for me to experience it firsthand. I can also lend a perspective on the challenges that telling these stories will present. I feel more capable of actually being helpful outside of just saying, well, Jedi are like this and Sith are like this. So he will now have a more hands-on approach as the chief creative officer for Lucasfilm. And I think this is an absolutely disastrous decision by Lucasfilm, but it really isn't unexpected, given that the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm seem to be making disastrous decisions after disastrous decisions. And I'll explain why I think it's a disastrous decision. Well, he was in charge of Ahsoka. The show currently has a pretty like, I guess, average rating on IMDb. You can see here first episode 7.8, second episode 7.8, 7.4 third episode, 8.6 fourth, 9.1 with the fifth episode, 8.1 with the sixth, and then 7.8 and then 7.9. But interestingly, you also do kind of see a little bit of a decline in the number of people writing reviews, meaning people were probably likely tuning out. We started off at 16K, dropped 1,000 reviews to 15, and then another 1,000 to 14. Jumped back up to 16. We got 22,000 reviews for that fifth episode. So that was the peak reviews was for that fifth episode, but then back down to 15K and then 11K and 11K for the last two episodes, indicating people did not really like how the show ended, or didn't care enough to even watch it. And then even if we look over here on Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it an 86%. And then the audience score you see is kind of that mediocre 70, not really that great. And then you can see here the viewership. It actually was worse than Andor. You can see Mac over here on Twitter. Shout out to him. It says 575 million minutes watched for the Ahsoka finale. And then looking at the Andor finale, it is at 674 million. So this is not good. It did worse than Andor when you're looking at total minutes viewed. But they have decided to promote Dave Filoni, who has been repeatedly criticized for his handling of Star Wars as well from a narrative decisions. I personally did not find the Ahsoka series that enjoyable. I thought it kind of doubled down on a lot of the bad things that they introduced in The Last Jedi. There were some bright spots. I did enjoy the fact that they said that anyone can basically try and train to become a Jedi, whether or not that. But that doesn't. You can still have varying levels with the Force, but you can still become a Jedi. But it'll just take people longer. But then they kind of just threw that all away by allowing Sabine Wren to basically just have like a massive power upgrade because the plot decided to have it. So there were some good things, and then there were some really, really bad things that happened in this show. And I just don't think that Dave Filoni is the proper person to be shepherding the narrative or the creatives for Star Wars. It's just, I just don't think he has proved that he is capable of doing that. And maybe I'll be proved wrong, but so far from what we've seen, it just hasn't been that good. But let me know what you guys think. What do you make of Dave Filoni being made the chief creative officer for Lucasfilm and basically becoming the person who will be guiding Star Wars into the future?